some of y'all really, really need to reconsider your ways. You got to consider your ways. Look at, give me that real quick. Let's go back. Let's go to Proverbs 6 and 9. Let's go back to Proverbs 6 and verse 9.
Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 9. Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 9. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou rise out of thy sleep?
So the scriptures is telling us, how long will thou sleep, O sluggard? When will thou rise out of thy sleep? Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do now, let's just take a moment. Let's define these words. Let's see. Sluggard. A sluggard is a lazy, sluggish person. Synonyms say good for nothing. So it says you are a sluggard. You're saying that you are a lazy, sluggish person, good for nothing. Another word that we similar that goes into corresponding with the word of somebody being sluggard. Slothful. What is slothful? Slothful means lazy, inactive, lethargic. All those things mean the same thing. That's a slothful person. What's another one? What's another word that the Bible used in explaining a slothful, sluggard type of person? The word slack. Let's look up what that word means. Slack, definition number 2. That's the one we're looking for. Of business, or characterized by the lack of work or inactivity. So a sluggard person is a person that is what? Inactive. A slack person is a person that is inactive. They are lazy with the work. They are not tight. They don't keep the rope tight. It's some slack within them. So a slack person, they will hold the body up from getting the job done. A slack person is a person doing nothing. All right? So now watch this. Go back. Let's read Proverbs 6 and 9 again.
Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 9. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep?
So it says, how long will you sleep, thou sluggard? Some of y'all, up in here, some of y'all, you set alarms to make sure you get up to serve Esau on his job on time. You go all out your way to make sure anything you want to do, you make sure it gets done. When it comes to getting to work, you make sure you set your alarms and all this other stuff to make sure you get to Esau's job on time. But when it comes to the Most High's work, we're supposed to be 2, 3, 10 times that for the work of the Most High. But what happens with some of y'all? When it comes to the Most High work, you're this type of brother. Let's go to Proverbs 26 and 14.
Proverbs chapter 26 and verse 14. As the door turneth upon his hinges, so does the slothful upon his bed.
So the scriptures tell us, some of y'all, when it comes to the Most High's work, we can't find you nowhere. We can find you on top of your bed, sleeping on the bed. When it comes to the Most High work, all you do is sleep. And it doesn't mean a literal. We're not talking about just a literal sleep. You ain't necessarily got to be laid across the bed sleeping, but you sleep as far as when somebody sleep, what are they doing? Absolutely nothing. Some of y'all up in here got that same spirit. And if you don't do something about it, you got to go. You got to go. So watch this. How are we to be about the Most High's work? Who do we need to consider? The Most High gave you, he said, well, I know my people. You're rebellious, you're slack, you're slothful. You're nothing like your forefathers. Our forefathers didn't deal like that. But some of y'all got that spirit. So the Most High said, you know what? I'm going to give you an example to follow. What animal did the Most High say we need to follow when it comes to his work? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 6 and let's go back to verse 6.
Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise.
Right, the scripture say go to the ant. Why is it telling us to go to the ant? Because the ant is always busy. Ants don't sit around and wait for people to tell them to do things. Ants don't need us to tell them to do the work. Ants don't need you, ants do what they have to do. They get the job done. And they don't stop working until it's done. Same way, okay, so watch this, read verse 7.
Which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provided her meat in the summer, and gathered her food in the harvest.
Right, now that's key, because the scriptures say that the ant doesn't even have a ruler. It doesn't have a guide. We don't have an instruction manual. It has nobody standing over them and pressing them to tell them to do what they need to get done. They do it. They do the work. But here's the worst part. We have a guide. We have the scriptures telling us what to do to guide us right. and we still won't do it. But the ant don't need that. The ant goes to work. That's why the Bible said, consider the ways of the ant. Look at how the ant gets the job done. And then look at yourself. You come and see that, damn, I ain't nothing. Some of y'all are just slack and slothful. And in other words, some of you just straight up plain out sorry. All right? Now, that's it's bad because the Most High had to tell you. He's telling you over and over what your job is, what your purpose. The ant needs nobody to tell him what his job is or what your purpose is. Let me show you the Most High. Just because he knew how slack we are, what type of people we are, he told us, this is the whole duty of man right here. Watch this. Go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. What did the Most High say was the whole duty of man? Letting you know what your job is while you here.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
So the ant doesn't have anybody or anything telling him what's his duty, what's his job, what he shall be doing. But the Bible just told us clear as day. What is our duty? To keep the commandments and fear God. Where else does it tell us what we should be doing? Let's go to Romans chapter 12 and verse 1.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice.
So present your bodies as a living sacrifice. To sacrifice something is to present your body as a living sacrifice. Give away the things that you want to do. Set aside your own wants, pleasures, and desires. Set that aside and make yourself an acceptable, presentable sacrifice unto the Most High God. Come on.
Holy, acceptable unto God.
Which is what?
Which is your reasonable service.
So it's telling you, again, that's the least you can do. The least you can do is deny yourself, seeing you haven't died for your sins. Do what I say do, and keep the commandments. That's your reasonable service. The Most I told you, at the very least, that's what you can do. At the very least, that's what you can do. And some of you will hear this and absolutely nothing changes. Some of y'all hear these scriptures and absolutely nothing changes. You're still asleep, dragging your feet, being a slugger. Just completely no urgency shows what? Lack of zeal, faith, and fear. You show the lack of zeal for this truth, the lack of zeal in yourself, the lack of zeal in putting in the work. You show a lack of faith. You don't believe. If you're a slothful, sluggard person, I'm telling you straight up, you don't believe. Because the Bible says faith without works is done. I mean, it's dead. I'm sorry. It's dead. When I say done, stick a fork in him. He done. All right? And then it says, in fear. Why? Because it's a commandment. It's a commandment to do the work. It's a commandment not to be lazy. It's a commandment not to be slack. All right? So, watch this. Let's get it somewhere else where our forefathers had to get down on the brothers about being slack. Watch this. Let's go to Joshua 18 and 3. Joshua chapter 18 and verse 3.
Joshua chapter 18 and verse 3. Joshua chapter 18 and verse 3. All right. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, how long are ye slack to go to possess the land, which the Lord God of your fathers have given you?
Right. So Joshua said, how long will you children of Israel be slack? Are you going to go out and get the land that our father, the Most High God gave to us through our fathers? What you have to understand is this was going into a point where the Most High has given us a land. Now we have to go across the wars and the battles and the fields that is necessary for us to receive the land. How shall we receive the land that the Father gave to us if we never face the trials and the wars and the things that's laid before it? You got to go through it. So Joshua said, how long will you be slack? How long are we going to sit back and wait? Are we going to go take the land, or we going to settle here? We got to go get the land. And that's the same as us today. We are to go out, build up the nation, and chase the kingdom. How long are y'all going to be slack sitting around not doing nothing? How long are we going to sit around? The kingdom don't come from observation. The kingdom don't come from observation. You want the kingdom, you got to go out and get it. All right? Watch this. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go to Numbers. Numbers chapter 32, verse 6.
In Numbers chapter 32, verse 6. And Moses said unto the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, shall your brethren go to war, and shall ye sit here?
So that's just like some of y'all in this truth. You see, we going to war. I gotta be pushing out classes at a very high rate lately. We pushing out classes at a very high rate. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing in this truth to help us get this word out? What are you doing to help this thing go further? What are you doing that when the Most High return, when Christ returns and you sit in front of the judgment seat, that you can say, I was in the midst of this. I was in the works of this. What are y'all doing? I'm telling you, if you can't sit there and say to your, and with an honest heart, because a lot of people will make themselves believe a lie. If you can't say honestly that you know you're going above and beyond for this truth, you better check yourself. You better reconsider your ways, because you are headed to destruction. You are not going to receive the kingdom. It's going to be a sad picture when you see your brothers and sisters getting on the chariots and you stay behind. You better start putting in the words. I'm telling you. Give me verse 7.
Verse 7. And wherefore discourage ye the hearts of the children of Israel from going over into the land which the Lord hath given them.
Right, so we going to fight for the land and you sitting back not doing nothing. That's discouraging. It's discouraging when a man is trying to pull the wagon and he got nothing but dead weight sitting on it. That is discouraging. This is what we're telling you. You holding up the children of Israel from getting the job done. You just in the way. You dead weight. Nobody wants dead weight. Nobody wants dead weight around. Just like nobody wants a slack, sluggard, slothful brother around. Not even Christ. Not even the Most High. You heard what? You heard what? Remember what Christ called? Remember what Christ called a man for being a slothful servant. Remember that. Let's get it real quick for those who may have forgotten. You better remember how Christ feels about that. Let's go to Matthew 25, and we're gonna start at 26. Get right to the point.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 26. His Lord answered and said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant.
So he called him a wicked and slothful servant. So if you are slothful with this work, you slack with this work, you're not doing nothing. The Most High give you 6 days to do the service of man or whatever. Do whatever you're doing. The Sabbath is his day. Put away everything. You got to put away all foolishness, everything that pleases the flesh. Put it all away. We get to the Sabbath, you got brothers sleeping till 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You get to the Sabbath, we putting in the work. You enjoying the luxuries of TVs and everything else, right? When it comes to the work, it's work to be done. You got the officer and the commander. We pushing classes. Officer reading, commander teaching, commander reading, officer teaching. We doing the work. Meanwhile, what are you guys doing? Sitting back doing absolutely nothing. Just enjoying the ride. You are dead weight. Nobody wants you around when you are dead weight. All right? So watch this. The Most High, read that verse again, brother. Officer.
His Lord answered and said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap when oh my Lord. Thou knewest that I reap where I sow not.
I'm sorry. Jump up to 24. I'm sorry. I missed the whole point.
Verse 24. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said.
So this man received a talent, and he did absolutely nothing with it. What did he do? Watch this.
Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gather where thou hast not strawed.
Watch this.
25.
Yeah.
And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine.
Now watch this. So he's saying, I hid it in the earth. So he basically didn't do nothing with his talent. I hid it in the earth. That's where it is. I could get it right now. It's in the earth. Oh, you know what he was doing? Making excuses. Like most brothers in this truth, when you get on them, they got excuses for why they not putting in their bread. He got excuses. He came with excuses. I knew you was a hard man, and I was afraid. And excuses. You know what those excuses equivalent to? Go back. Let's go back to Proverbs real quick. Let's go back to Proverbs chapter 26 and verse 13. Because a slothful sluggard, which this servant was, always has an excuse for why they're not getting their part of the bargain done. All right. So watch this. Proverbs 26 and 13.
Proverbs chapter 26 and verse 13. The slothful man said, there is a lion in the way. A lion is in the streets.
So the slothful man, hold on, say that. He said, the slothful man will say it's a lion in the streets. Why you in that 7? Man, it was a lion out running wild. I was scared, man. Lion out there. He made some of the stupidest excuses. Like, remember the last time when we said, why you ain't come to the, why you ain't put in no work? Dude, you can make it to the fly mission. Why you ain't have not fly? Man, the dog ate my car. The dog ate your car. Like he makes some of the stupidest excuses. Remember the scripture say what? The sinful man will not be reproved, but will find an excuse according to his will.
Right.
So when you're dealing with a slack person, they will always have an excuse. There's always some reason why they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Watch this. Jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16. The sluggard is wise in his own conceit.
So a sluggard, a lazy, a slothful servant is wise in his own conceit. Watch what that means. Watch this. Come on.
Then 7 men that can render a reason.
So he's wiser than 7 men that can render a reason. You know what that means? He got more excuses than a nigga going to jail. He will never just own up to, you know what? I've been slack. He got 1,000,001 excuses. This don't work. I got another one. Nigga. Hold on. I got another one lined up. You know what I'm saying? He got excuses on top of excuses on top of excuses. That's how some of you brothers are. And like I told you, you're going to get to work. Because we ain't going to have it up in him. Up in him. And if it continue, get the hell out. Get out. We don't need your dead weight. We don't need your dead weight. We don't need help eating. We can tell this, we can eat. We don't need your help eating. Alright? So watch this. Now let's go back to the prophecy about the man who hit his talent. The slothful servant. Alright, so let's start at 25.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 25.
As a fact, start at 25, so we can read his excuse one more time. He was afraid, and then go into what Christ told him.
All right, Matthew chapter 25 and verse 25. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth.
Excuses.
Lo, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sow not, and gather where I have not straw.
So he said, you wicked and slothful servant. Watch this. Read on.
Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own with a surety. Usury. Take therefore the talent from him and give it unto him which hath 10 talents.
You're right. That's basically telling you slothful, the Most High gonna say, you know what? Remove him. Take his talents, give it to that person, and cash that nigga to the sand. And we're gonna show you that. Watch it. Read on.
For unto everyone that have shall be given, and he shall have an abundance. But for him that have not shall be taken away even that which he have. Watch this.
Watch this. So it's telling you clear as day. For everyone that have shall be given, and have abundance. So just as if you given something, as much work you put in, that much more should be given back to you. But if you have and you put nothing in, or you ain't did nothing, what you expect back? Nothing. Watch this. Let's go to verse 30.
Verse 30. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness.
So it's telling you, the slothful servant, because if you slothful, you are unprofitable. Cast them into outer darkness. That's that. Come on, watch this.
There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
That's all I want out of that, all right? So it's telling you straight up. You unprofitable, slothful servants, guess what? Casting you into darkness. And it's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's talking about death. Destruction. You're no good. You're no use. I can't use you. All you want to do is sleep, sit around, watch TV. Your mind is on everything else inside the world. Where it's nothing for me though. Nothing for me. All right, so watch this. Now, let's go to Sirach 22, verse 1 and 2. So now that we understand how Christ didn't feel about you, let's see what the Most High compares you to and how we feel about you. And I'm saying we. Yeah. You slothful and you slack, I'm going to show you exactly how I feel about you. The same way the Most High feel about you. Right here. Sirach 22, we're going to start at verse 1.
Sirach chapter 22 and verse 1. A slothful man is compared to a filthy stone, and everyone will hiss him out to his disgrace.
When hiss him out to his disgrace, it's telling you that they... All right, man. The brothers hate this. Nobody wants to be around you because you hold up the body. You slack. The Most High said you are like a filthy stone. What does a stone do? It just sits there and rot away. All right, watch this. Read on.
A slothful man is compared to the filth of a dunghill. Every man that take it up will shake his hand.
So you're just like a pile of doo-doo. In other words, you're like a dunghill. All right? Watch this. Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 9. Nobody wants to be around a slothful man. A man who doesn't get the work done.
Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 9. He also that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster.
So it says you're slack. If you're a slack brother, you're a great waster. You're a brother to a great waster. You slack, and the people who basically saying you slack, and the people who raise you slack, or the people that you hang with are slack. That's why I was telling you that if you are slack and you're in the midst of brothers who are about Luke 2:49, about the Father's business, they will begin to hate you. They don't want to be around you because you slack. You lazy. Lazy people. People that get the job done don't like hanging with people who don't. It is what it is. Some of you brothers who are about to work, they can't stand a lazy, slack, or sluggard person. And so some of y'all want to get married. A good woman can't stand a sluggard and slack and lazy person. Right? So you better check yourself. Get yourself together.
Right. Now,
some of y'all sitting here, well, how do I know I'm slack? How do we know if we slack? What make us slack? Matthew 7 and 20, please.
Matthew chapter 7 and verse 20. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 20. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them.
So the scripture tells us straight up, by your fruits we know you. We know that you slack because you don't do nothing. It's just that simple. We know you slack because you don't put in work. We know you slack because you don't pay attention. You don't watch classes unless somebody say something to you. We know you slack because you don't read. We know you slack because straight up, your fruits, you bear nothing. What can you say you've done in this truth? Besides, I watched a couple classes, I took some notes. What else? I'm not speaking in tongues now. Ain't nothing. You ain't got no words. That's how we know you slack. Okay. So now, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Most of y'all know y'all slack. Slack people know they be slack. They just want to hear somebody else say it. You know damn well you slack. You know you ain't doing nothing. You know you're not doing nothing. So now, you better reconsider your ways. You better check yourselves. You know if you got that slack spirit, you better check yourself. You better consider the ways the ants move. You better look at the works and what's been done and ask yourself, honestly, what can you say that you have done that benefits this truth, that benefits the body? Some of you going to your jobs, you trying to rebuke people because you done learned a few things. You better shut your mouth and you ain't putting in no words. You better be quiet, man. You ain't putting no words, but you at the job trying to rebuke people. Shut up and be quiet. And find something to do to help this body grow. Watch this. Luke 14:28. Luke 14:28.